What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Mile High Hockey is live. Drew Spivak, Will Peterson with you, and want to thank our good friends at Mountain High Appliance for bringing Mile High Hockey to you 5 days a week during the Avalanche playoff run. And Drew, after what happened on Saturday night, we may be doing this bad boy for a while. If the Avalanche can get past the Stars, who knows how deep this run can go. And let's just start with the obvious. I mean, Gabriel Landeskog scores in the second period to make it 3-0 Avs. Drew, I have heard Ball Arena loud. It was loud when he got introduced as a starter in Game 3. But for a non-OT playoff goal, that is the loudest I have ever heard that building. That was an unbelievably special moment for the captain.
Is this a safe space for me to fully admit how wrong I was about the impact that Gabe Landeskog was going to have in this series?
Very safe. Very safe.
Good.
But go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to, because I'll be honest, I did not expect a guy who has not played hockey in 3 years to come out and look the way that he has. Like, I thought he'd maybe show some flashes here and there. But what Gabe Landeskog has done over the 2 games that he has played in this series is really like nothing short of incredible. He has looked so flipping good. It's incredible to watch the way he's played and how good his line mates are around him. It's such a cool thing to see how he's come in and just basically picked up right where he left off after a 3-year break. So to have that, and then just to hear the reaction in that arena, like, I know you were at the game.
Yep.
I was listening to it on the broadcast. You could feel it. Like, I got goosebumps when it happened, when that goal went through. What a shot. What a play by Brock Nelson to bring the puck into the zone and set up Gabe Landeskog. But it was such a cool, emotional, just high. Like, I have goosebumps sitting here talking about it.
I know. I still do. Like, it happened, 36 hours ago at this point, and we still have goosebumps. And you mentioned it. I mean, Brock Nelson makes an unbelievable play, but I told Matt, our producer, before the show, like, it was so much fun that it was just a clean goal, right? Like, I love greasy goals from Gabe, and Gabe gets a lot of greasy goals throughout his career. But just to know, like, oh my gosh, 92 just did that. And, and I saw his reaction, and the press box is on that side of the ice. So I'm just watching Gabe, and obviously everyone saw the big grin. But what I'll tell you didn't see on the broadcast was there was about a half second to a second of just relief.
Yeah.
Like, he just sort of like, whoa, I scored. And then I went to his post-game press conference, and he made the comment of, I didn't know if I ever was going to score again in this league. I mean, he's just checking box after box. And like you said, and it's in our YouTube caption, he is one of Colorado's best players.
Yeah.
This isn't just a Disney movie. This isn't just a feel-good story. Gabriel Landeskog, Drew, can be a reason they win the Stanley Cup.
Well, it was incredible to go from, all right, you're not in the lineup for the first 2 games. Then you're coming in, all right, you're going to play on the third line. You'll play 10, 12 minutes a night. Oh, well, he was so good in Game 3. Let's just bump him up to the second line, and let's just go ahead and put him on the first power play unit. And guess what? It all worked. It all worked beautifully. He looked like the Gabe Landeskog of old. And it was something that second line desperately needed, because that's a line that you and I have talked about that hadn't really performed. I mean, Brock Nelson, I think he'd done some good things defensively, but Jonathan Drouin was not cutting it on that line at all. He got bumped down to the third line, which I thought was a really good move. But to see the amount of production that line had with Gabe Landeskog in it, I mean, it elevated Brock Nelson's game. It elevated Gabe's game. It elevated Val Nichushkin's game. I mean, I think the shots on goal were 14-1 for that line in that game at 5-on-5. 14-1. I mean, that's not just good. That's dominant.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that third line basically did it, I think, in Game 3. I think it was 8-0 in favor of the Avs in that one. So when Gabe has been on the ice, his line, no matter who he's playing with, has just been completely dominant. And for me, it's great foreshadowing for the rest of the series, but also just kind of tells me that, hey, guess what? This comeback is complete now. It's almost like we can almost stop talking about the comeback and just talk about how good of a player Gabe Landeskog still is.
Yeah, exactly. And you talked about the dominance of Landeskog's line. All the advanced stats show that. Like, I don't care if you're the biggest Avalanche optimist in the world. No one could have seen this coming. I mean, no one could have seen how good he would be, how quickly he would be that good. Obviously, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar are 2 of the 5 best players on planet Earth, but like, Gabe is playing at that level right now. And that's a sentence I can't believe I'm uttering. I mean, I was in Loveland 16 days ago when this guy's playing in an AHL game. And now here he is, not only playing in the NHL, he's thriving in the NHL. It truly is one of the best stories, not just in hockey, but in all of sports that's going right now. Plenty other things to get to from that game. And then we'll preview Game 5 Let's talk about Logan O'Connor.
Yeah.
Unbelievable shorthanded goal. His 5th point of the series, tied for the team lead in points at that point when he scored to make it 1-0. Even Sammy G's goal to make it 4-0. Gabe's in front of the net, creating a lot of traffic. McKinnon gets one on the power play after man-child Marchment elbows Cale Makar in the face and then throws a temper tantrum when he goes to the box. I tweeted that, and the Dallas fans weren't real happy with me. But Drew, what other takeaways did you have? I just hit on the other 3 goals, but Mackenzie Blackwood too, a shutout, which is a shutout, 23 saves. Lot of other things non-Landeskog to dive into from game 4.
I think Jared Bednar always likes to talk about passengers and how there's, passengers in games. I can't name one player that wore a Colorado Avalanche jersey in that game that was a passenger. Everybody, to me, stood out. I mean, you mentioned McKinnon. I thought McKinnon was fantastic. Cale Makar was fantastic. He didn't get on the score sheet. Eventually, he'll actually put the puck on the net. He's getting closer and closer, but he was fantastic. I thought Val was great. Logan O'Connor. I mean, Logan O'Connor was a guy that I thought struggled a lot of the year, maybe trying to get kind of back from that hip injury. He just hasn't looked like the same player that he was before. But in this playoffs, he's looked fantastic. The speed at which he's playing with, it's so much fun to watch him because he's one of my favorite guys to watch on this team. But
and the shorty, I mean, to push the Dallas player off the puck, take it, and then beat Ottinger clean. That was an unbelievable goal.
It really was. It really was. And I look at the defensive end, and I look at a guy like Josh Manson. I think you could safely say that Josh Manson went from a guy that didn't play well all year, he was banged up, to he's been their best defenseman in this series. Josh Manson's been fantastic. I know he took a couple penalties early on, but whatever. That's kind of what you get with Josh Manson. You're going to get some heavy physical play, but you're going to get a guy that plays well in his own end and sets up his teammates in the offensive zone. I love the way that Josh Manson's played in the series, but I think my biggest takeaway from is that just listen, they didn't play a great game overall, but you also look at it and say, guess what? That game was not nearly as close as the score would indicate, because that was a butt kicking.
I mean, Jake Ottinger, it could have been 7-8-0. I mean, they outshot them 22-5 in the second period.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in NHL playoff hockey. 22 shots in a period. And Peter DeBoer said after the game that, he just benched Ottinger for rest with the game tonight.
That was weird, right?
It was weird. It was waving the white flag. That was the conversation I had in the press box. You remember Kevin Shattenkirk?
Mm-hmm.
He sat next to me in the press box because he's with the NHLPA now. And I looked at his nameplate and I'm like, I know that name.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa, he had a really good NHL career. He's with the NHLPA now. And I was talking to a guy from Dallas as well who was sitting near us. And he's like, yeah, this isn't performance-based. This is just DeBoer waving the white flag. It's like, well, in a 3-0 game, it's kind of early to be waving a white flag, but that's what he did.
Well, a lot of times in a 3-0 game, especially in the playoffs, you see teams come back.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Edmonton I know it wasn't 3-0, but I think it was 3-1 at that point. Edmonton comes back and ends up winning the game. So to go down 3-0, it just kind of tells you about what Pete DeBoer thought about that game. Even though I thought it was a weird move, I was like, you're literally pulling your best player right now, because Jake Ottinger was fantastic in that hockey game. Like you said, it should have been easily 6-7-0 if not for his heroics in that game. So I thought it was a little bit weird. You could tell it on the broadcast. They kept showing him on the bench, and you could tell that he didn't really look happy about the fact he got pulled. I don't know if that means anything for, game 5 and moving forward, but I just thought it was kind of a weird move by Pete DeBoer to make that decision to pull Jake Ottinger as great as he played in that game.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's talk about game 5 real quick. One more story from game 4. Nathan McKinnon. Drew, we all know Nathan McKinnon's a little icy with the media. A lot of bit.
Yeah.
Dude, I've never seen him in a better mood.
I know.
He was in an unbelievable mood, telling stories about how Gabe Landeskog told him, I think missing 3 years is like missing a month.
Yeah.
And Nate was like, wait, what?
Well, and the hug on the bench. To see how excited he was to see Gabe get that goal. Like, you don't see Nathan McKinnon smile during a hockey game.
No.
And he was grinning ear to ear when Gabe Landeskog scored that goal. So it's cool to see, what this means to not only everybody, but Nathan McKinnon, who I know Gabe Landeskog is incredibly close with on this team.
Yeah, Nathan said he goes to his house almost every single day. And again, Nate's usually terse with us, whatever. He's the best player in the world. I'm not complaining, but all of a sudden I'm filming him after game 4, standing 5 feet away from the guy. And I'm like, whoa, this is like Nathan McKinnon if he's had a couple lattes, a la Sean Payton. Like, he was in a great mood. Let's talk about game 5, because it's going to be here before you know it. That's what's crazy about this. You had 2 days off in Denver, and then weird schedule. You only have a travel day, and then they play tonight here in about 7 hours. Drew, I'm going to make a bold statement. Tell me if I'm wrong. Whoever wins tonight is going to win the series.
I agree. I think you're 100% right. And going into game 4, I felt great about this Avalanche team, despite the way that things went down in game 3. I thought this team was going to be fine. they showed it. I think they made the proper adjustments. They did pretty much everything right, even though things still could have been better, I think, in that game. But I think you're going to see a team tonight that says, all right, you know what? We know we're the better team. They've still only led for, or they've still led for all but 62 minutes of this seconds
in regulation.
Yes,
62 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, they've still been the better team. And I still think they are the better team. We now know Miro Heiskanen not going to play tonight for Dallas. That would have been a huge boost for them coming back into their barn, and having him in the lineup would have helped out a lot defensively. I just think when you look at Dallas, like, their best players have not played well yet, which I think is a little bit concerning if you're an Avs fan. But we saw in game 4 that the Avs best players started to show up. They started to play their best. So I'm feeling great about this team tonight. I think we're going to see a much different game than we saw in game 4, because you're going down to Dallas now where it's warm. The ice is going to be kind of slower and slushy. So you're going to see a much more kind of grinded out type game. But I think if the Avalanche can do what they did in game 4, they're coming back to Denver with a chance to close it out for game 6.
Oh my gosh, we would love that. I will be in the building on Thursday night, and I'm desperately hoping that it is to close the series out, get past the Stars. And like I said off the jump, you never know what can happen. Shout out to our friends at Mountain High Appliance. I will be here with Mike Evans tomorrow. Drew will be back on Wednesday, and we will be talking all about who has a 3-2 lead in this pivotal round 1 series.